We are fearful every time we park and walk to our apartment. Am I the next one that's going to get shot?
After another shooting in the university area, people there are concerned about their safety in their own homes. Coming up, we speak with members of the University House community, what they are asking management to do now.
The community college plot they had was going to be exactly the same as the Bataclan theater attack in Paris recently.
And we are learning more about the man arrested in connection with the San Bernardino shootings following his court appearance, the other plots that could have made the damage much worse, and the latest on his court case, all coming up.
This is probably the only time you'll ever sell out like 7 movie theaters on a Thursday night.
That's true. Star Wars fans, rejoice. It is finally here. And those of you tired of hearing about Star Wars fans, rejoice, because it soon then will stop being in the headlines. We're going to take a look at the Star Wars mania going on around Charlotte theaters. A lot of fans channeling the Force, and a lot of our crew here, at least one, shaking his head at me right now because he thinks that I'm the only non-Star Wars fan, and it's not true, Jake.
I learned there are 2, actually 3. It's Jake, Brian, and Hans.
Are the Star Wars fans?
Fanatics, yes.
Right. Are you not a fanatic?
Like it.
You like it, yeah. No, and I like it too. To be fair, I'm just giving everyone a hard time because I like it too. I just don't
I do too, yeah.
Go crazy.
And welcome in. Here
Yes.
on this Friday, I'm Barbara Lash.
You look cozy.
I am. I'm actually too warm.
We'll turn the heat down a little bit. Nick Koser, will we need to when we head out today? Will Barbara be comfortable?
Well, yeah, a little bit. Actually, a little bit cooler out there for you throughout the day today. So, yeah, you might have to bundle up a little bit extra. And here's a look at your weather headlines as we get you going here on this Friday. Decreasing clouds. Actually, have a little bit of cloud coverage out there right now. And again, cooler today. Could actually see a mountain snow shower as we get into this afternoon and this evening. Still has some stubborn rainfall clipping the south and eastern portion of the viewing area. Lancaster, Chesterfield, Wadesboro still seeing some light rain showers in the area. Matter of fact, Wadesboro seeing some heavier rain. This is all continuing to push east, kind of stubbornly holding tough. The rest of us, though, we're not seeing any rainfall. And again, this is moving east. It's not headed in our direction here, back towards Charlotte. 57 in Charlotte right now, 56 Gastonia, 55 Lincolnton. We're in the 40s up through the spine of the mountain chain there in Morganton, just shy of 50. The high today, 57 degrees with a little bit of cloud coverage out there this morning, and then we'll see clearing skies later on today. A bit on the breezy side, too, with winds out of the south and west between 5 and 15. And here is a look at your 7-day forecast. And you can see the big cool down still in the works for tomorrow. 53 Sunday. Winter officially gets here on Monday. It'll be 57, a little bit above average, then way above average. And I was mentioning this yesterday, close to 70 as we approach Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Should hit a high of 68 with a good amount of rain in the area. That's your 7-day forecast. Here's Chuck Rhodes.
Well, thank you, Nick. Good day, Charlotte. 4:33 in the morning. Pretty good start to the morning commute. Folks don't have any problems right now that'll alter your ride. I want to start with I-77 near Westinghouse, near the state line. They're investigating an accident in that area, and I'm seeing a small slowdown. The volume very light on Friday morning, so going down to 43 miles an hour is not a need or not a reason to seek an alternate route. But coming in from South Carolina, heads up, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police is handling this incident. Highway Patrol's handed it off to them. Minor delays at this point. No other problems to deal with 85 Independence or 485. Just keep the speed in check no matter where you're headed. Don't text and drive. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Police need your help this morning finding a missing woman. We've got a picture here of Deandra Fluitt, 33, last seen leaving Charlotte Douglas Airport Thursday afternoon. Fluitt was separated from her family, who is not from Charlotte, sometime between 2 and 2:20. Surveillance video here showing her leaving the airport wearing a light blue shirt, blue jeans, a black sweater, brown shoes, and carrying a red tote bag. Officials say she suffers from a mental condition. If you have seen her or if you have any information, call 911 or Crime Stoppers.
There's been yet another shooting in the university area of Charlotte, and this time CMPD says that someone was shot in the leg. That was around 10 a.m. yesterday. Officers responding to W.T. Harris in Harrington Woods Road. Investigators canvassed the bridges of the Mallard Creek apartment complex, where they found a car that appeared to have bullet holes on the passenger side. Police say this is an ongoing investigation.
All the high crime in the university area has a lot of residents there in the community outrage. Multiple shootings in recent months. People who live there say they now fear for their lives. Police say crime is up in that area. They say 2 shootings have been reported in the University House community alone, one 3 weeks ago and another just last week. People who live there say there's been a number of break-ins and thefts as well. Residents pleading at a meeting with the building's management for something to be done about this. Some parents we talked to say they've seen doors left open and gates unattended at the complex, while the company says they are doing what they can to crack down on crime and monitor the area with security. Parents say what they're doing is just not enough.
Every time we park and walk to our apartment.
They need to make sure that those doors truly lock, that every gate that somebody can get in is fixed. You know, I want to make sure my daughter's safe because, you know, she's out sometimes at night and comes in. I don't want anything to happen to her.
Many people said they've tried to get out of their lease there as well for safety reasons, but the company won't let them. When asked about that, the company officials said they would be working out each issue with residents personally.
Now an update to a story to tell you about here. 11 new victims are claiming that they were assaulted by a local doctor, and that brings the total to 14 women. Dr. Mario Hernandez turned himself in to investigators more than a week ago. He's accused of assaulting a number of female patients in separate incidents at a medical facility right off of Arrowwood Road. Right now, he's charged with 3 counts of second-degree sexual offense. Detectives tell us that they are reviewing the new allegations and that no additional charges have been filed as of yet. Meantime, a York County man has admitted to kidnapping and raping a Winthrop University student. The Rock Hill Herald reports that John Roddy faces up to 20 years in prison now. Back in October of last year, he reportedly held a student against a wall when she was trying to walk to her dorm. Roddy was not a student at the school, and witnesses say they saw him point a gun at the victim as she screamed for help. He will be sentenced next month.
A former deputy arrested now after he allegedly paid for sex with prostitutes while he was on the job. David Rainwater has been charged with misconduct in office. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division saying that between December 2014 and August of 2015, he had sex with prostitutes several times in Chesterfield County while he was on the job as a deputy. According to the police report, Rainwater admitted to the allegations. He was booked into the Chesterfield County Detention Center, now faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted.
Listen to this. A woman arrested after police say she admitted to purposely using her car to run her son off the road. This is a picture of her. Her name is Jackie Sturdivant, and she's been charged with assault with a deadly weapon. CMPD says she sideswiped her son's vehicle in an attempt to force him off the road near the 1500 block of North Tryon. The victim wasn't hurt, but his Dodge Magnum had $500 worth of damage to it. Strickland's bond wasn't listed, and it's unclear whether or not she is still in jail.
Well, we spoke to NC Highway Patrol about a growing problem they're experiencing. Their workload has increased in Mecklenburg County since a vital program went through budget cuts. IMAP, or better known as Incident Management Assistant Patrols, is handled by NCDOT. They cover calls concerning stranded motorists and debris on the road. And while they respond to problems on I-77 and I-85, IMAP handed over the responsibilities for 485 to Highway Patrol. Troopers tell us the workload now is just overwhelming.
Well, it definitely puts a strain on our manpower. I mean, obviously we have a limited manpower, so, you know, the manpower now that we have to shift to take those calls on 45 is, you know, it is taken away from the other areas.
Highway Patrol says ever since the new loop of 485 opened up, their calls for service have increased, causing them to exhaust their manpower. On top of the calls they receive for enforcement, they tell us they are responding to calls IMAP would normally handle, slowing down their response time for important calls. Highway Patrol says 29 troopers cover Mecklenburg County, and they haven't added on their staff since the change.
Santa handing out candy to kids may seem innocent enough, but parents in one South Charlotte neighborhood are very concerned. They're telling us a man dressed as Santa plus a woman were driving around a community in Ballantyne about a week and a half ago, passing out candy canes to kids, saying that they were spreading Christmas cheer. No one knows what their intentions were, but one mom tells us she's very concerned that many of the kids did the opposite of what they've been taught and actually approached the strangers rather than walk or run away.
We sat my older daughter down and actually decided to scare her and told her a couple stories in real life of children that had been taken right from their front yard.
That mom went on to tell us that she contacted CMPD and also warned her neighbors in person and on social media about what happened. Police say it's important to let your children know how important it is to tell parents about strangers approaching them as soon as possible so that investigators can let other families know as well.
Charlotte Observer reporting that Charlotte City Council member John Autry has plans now to run for the North Carolina House. Democratic Representative Tricia Cotham's seat is open after she announced she won't run again. Autry is not alone in his quest for the House seat either. Democrat Billy Matalon is also going to run. And the way North Carolina abortion clinics conduct business is changing. New rules now being implemented to the 16 licensed clinics all across the state. The rules state clinics must have more structured nursing staff and a quality assurance program. That includes clinics giving patients a phone number that'll be answered by a person now 24 hours a day. Abortion rights advocates originally said the changes were unnecessary, and they worried they could shut down clinics. New regulations passed last summer ensure annual inspections must be met or else they will be shut down. And happening right now at Charlotte Douglas International Airport, troops from basic training at the U.S. Army base at Fort Jackson are departing to go home for the holidays. Troops are receiving a friendly holiday greeting and a thank you for their service from the USO of North Carolina. This, by the way, live video of the troops in line there right now. So each year, the USO of North Carolina and more than 25 volunteers gather to welcome home those troops and share the holiday spirit as they get to travel back home and see their families. Today, volunteers will give out 4,500 cups of coffee, serve more than 250 dozen cookies, and provide some 2,500 gift packs, all to say thank you to our newest servicemen and women.
Well, the latest Star Wars film has hit the theaters to the pleasure of many Charlotte fans. People showed up in costume and waited in line for hours, but the lightsabers and the toy blasters, they had to be left in the car for safety reasons. The Charlotte Pride Band was playing a medley of Star Wars music, and if you didn't show up well in advance, those seats were scarce on this opening night.
We knew that we'd have a lot of people coming early. Our line started at noon. We actually had our first person in line at noon with a small TV showing the original trilogy for the entire day.
Starting at noon, they were lining up, and once 5 o'clock came around, fans were able to file into their seats. Now, in order to handle the larger than normal crowd, management says they made sure they had full staff there, plenty of extra staff and extra security as well.
Nicholas Koser. Are you going to see it? You're going to see it, right?
Maybe in a couple years after, it's put on Netflix or something.
Years.
Not the biggest Star Wars guy myself, but I can see why it's a big deal.
I heard it's good, though.
I did. Everybody says it's great. Here's a look at HD Doppler radar south and east of town. Some rain, the heaviest of the rain moving out of the Wadesboro, kind of Anson County area. And again, the rest of us seeing dry conditions this morning, which is not what we saw out there yesterday morning. And here's a look at some of those rainfall totals over the last 24 hours. A lot of spots, again, around a half inch to an inch of rain, with some spots like Shelby seeing a little over an inch. With all that rain, watch out for some patchy fog, especially over towards Shelby, up towards Salisbury, where they're reporting 1 mile visibility there. Here in Charlotte, though, things not looking too bad. Temps in the 50s this morning and this afternoon, so you'll need a jacket pretty well all day long. And again, clearing cloud coverage as we get into later on today. Hey, don't forget to download a Fox 46 weather app. It's available on Google Play or the App Store. It's free, and it is ready for you to download right now, so give it a look. Paige?
Nick, so against the wishes now of South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, 2 Syrian refugees are now living in South Carolina, and another Syrian family is on the way. A spokeswoman with the Social Services Department says 2 Syrians were relocated to the Midlands through a private resettlement agency. The agency says another family has been cleared as well for resettlement in the state. Not known exactly when that family will arrive, Governor Haley, of course, asked Secretary of State John Kerry to no longer send Syrian refugees to South Carolina. You probably remember that. Haley says the U.S. should help refugees, but there are gaps in intelligence about those fleeing Syria.
The only person arrested in connection with the San Bernardino terrorist attacks made his first court appearance yesterday. And as we hear from Fox News correspondent Arthel Neville, stunning new details are emerging about the horror that could have been much worse.
As Enrique Marquez made his first appearance in court on charges of conspiring to provide material support to terrorists, shocking new details are emerging about the apparently twisted relationship he had with his childhood friend, Syed Farook. During an 11-day period following the San Bernardino attacks, Marquez waived his right to an attorney and talked to investigators. He painted a truly troubling picture of his friendship with Farook, including attacks the two had planned on both a crowded highway and a community college they both attended.
The community college plot they had was going to be exactly the same as the Bataclan theater attack in Paris recently.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka is an expert on counterterrorism.
He actually admitted, the man who's in the dock today admitted, after they throw the improvised explosive devices onto the highway, vehicles stop, he was going to shoot at the EMS workers. He was going to shoot at law enforcement.
Court records include a partial transcript of a 911 call Marquez made in the hours following the San Bernardino shootings. He tells the operator he'd given a gun to Farouk for storage. The transcript also indicates that Marquez was considering suicide. The operator asked Marquez why he felt like killing himself. Marquez said his neighbor did the shooting. The operator asked Marquez if his gun was used, and Marquez said, quote, "Yes, oh my God." According to Marquez, it was decided that he should buy the assault rifles because his appearance was less likely to draw suspicion than that of Syed Farouk. In New York, Arthel Neville, Fox News.
And President Obama's administration working on its vow to intensify the fight now against ISIS. Defense Secretary Ash Carter traveled to the Kurdish region of northern Iraq as part of the U.S.'s efforts to ramp up the fight against ISIS. Carter met with the Kurdish president and local military officials. He says the region's fighters are doing well battling the terrorist organization.
They've been what we look for in all of this conflict, which is capable and motivated forces who can defeat ISIL and occupy and govern territory.
The American-led international coalition there remains engaged in conflict, carrying out 18 new airstrikes on militant targets in Iraq and Syria.
We've learned that one of the U.S.'s most controversial figures will stand before a military judge in North Carolina. The U.S. Army says Sergeant Bo Bergdahl will be arraigned on Tuesday at Fort Bragg. Bergdahl disappeared in 2009 from his base in Afghanistan, was then captured and held by the Taliban for 5 years before President Barack Obama made a prisoner exchange for him. He will face a general court-martial on charges of desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. If convicted, Bergdahl could get life in prison on the misbehavior charge and up to 5 years for desertion. Meantime, authorities have identified the man killed in an officer-involved shooting in Gaston County. 51-year-old Ronnie Carr died in the incident off Highway 321, right near Dallas, North Carolina, Tuesday afternoon. According to the preliminary report, Carr was shot several times. Police say it started when they arrested 2 men at an Ingles grocery store for writing bad checks. Investigators say Carr, driving the getaway vehicle, fled the scene, running his car into a police cruiser, and that's when an officer shot at him. Officers also say the car continued to drive away, but later crashed a second time and died at the scene. CMPD says that this man finally off the streets after allegedly committing a long list of offenses. Mark O'Brien Ellis arrested Thursday. Ellis was a fugitive on CMPD's violent criminal apprehension list after being wanted for felony firearm offenses, damaging property, and ripping off his electronic monitoring device. Last week, Ellis cut it off and was said to be heading toward Rock Hill. Yesterday, he was finally caught in Huntersville.
And one of 2 former South Carolina police officers facing child abuse charges now appeared in court on Thursday. Jeffrey Taylor arrested along with Audrey Schurig in March. Both are charged with unlawful neglect of a child. SLED began looking into the couple when their child was hospitalized with major injuries. In court, the judge removed GPS monitoring and house suspension conditions from Taylor. Both Taylor and Schurig face up to 20 years now in prison. Here's a look at your AccuWeather forecast now with Nick Koser.
All right, a little bit breezy out there today and downright windy for some spots. First, the mountain's going to go under a wind advisory at 4 o'clock this afternoon, lasting until tomorrow morning until 6 a.m. And then Lancaster and Chesterfield counties under a lake wind advisory going into effect at 7 a.m. and that'll last through 5 p.m. this evening. Could see some gusts of up to 40 miles per hour in both of those locations. We have some cloud coverage, some very stubborn cloud coverage in place right now. It is going to clear out by this afternoon. Again, it's going to be a bit on the breezy side with winds coming in right out of the north and west, and we are going to see a bit of a cool down. It won't be quite as mild as it's been of late. Going to feel a little bit more like December here as we're going to get a brief shot of this cold air really just for this weekend as the jet stream dipping well south. So here's what the next 3 days look like for you. 57, again, more clouds in the morning, more sunshine for the second half of the day today. Tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, but the coldest day here in the 3-day outlook, 26, or actually 28 tomorrow morning, 49 on the high side, then 26 Sunday morning, a 53 there. That's actually kind of average for the day on Sunday. And then looking ahead to next week, we're going to be way above average. The jet stream is going to go way north as we get closer towards Christmas Day. I already showed you the 7-day forecast earlier. Highs on Christmas Eve look to be around 70 degrees, and I think we actually could see a wet Christmas this year. More on that in just a bit. First, here's Chuck Rhodes in the traffic center.
Well, thanks, Nick. Good day, Charlotte. 450 in the morning. Volume light throughout the Queen City. I don't have any problems right now that would alter your ride. Let's take a look at I-77 around Center City. No problems, no delays. On I-77, John Belk, Brookshire, Independence, all looking good. We zoom a little further south down toward Tyvola and Woodlawn, still looking good in that area. And then they're investigating an incident now reported 77 southbound near the state line, but I'm not seeing any delays north or southbound near Westinghouse exit 1. Just watch out if you're headed that way in the next couple of minutes for the flashing lights. Move over, keep everybody safe. We'll keep you posted, but a good start for the Friday commute. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Chuck Rhodes. 4:50 now. The Carolina Panthers heading to the Big Apple to face the Giants on Sunday to try and continue their perfect season.
Yes, indeed. Going to have a tough test, though, against Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. Plus, the Hornets were back in action, trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak. Here's Anthony Flores with your morning sports.
The Panthers' pursuit of perfection takes them to the Big Apple. The Panthers will put their perfect 13-0 record on the line Sunday at the New York Giants. And the Panthers have already won their 3rd straight NFC South Division title. They can clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs with a win or an Arizona loss or tie. Now, despite a 6-7 record, the Giants are still in the hunt for an NFC East Division title.
It's about executing. It's about protecting the football, and we know facing the New York Giants team, they're coming off of, a big win in front of America, playing in front of Monday night. We know what their offense can do. I don't have the opportunity to go against their offense, but yet defensively, they're a talented bunch of guys that if we let them, make plays, they will do it.
A lot of times you don't look at the record. Obviously, we know what the record is, but you look at the scheme. And so we're looking at their scheme, their players, their personnel. What they like to do in certain situations and the best way for us to attack it.
It's important that we don't lose sight of what the ultimate goal is, and that's to win the Super Bowl, not necessarily undefeated, but just to win it. And so we need to approach it like that. Every game is important, and we play them one at a time.
Now, the Panthers will take on the Giants Sunday at 1 p.m. That game can be seen right here on Fox 46. In the NBA, the Hornets playing the second of back-to-back games without Nick Batum, who was under the weather. So that gave Jeremy Lin the start, his second of the season. He came out gunning, had a season-high 35 points. Lin hitting from behind the arc. The Hornets led by a dozen at the break. Third quarter, it looked like a blowout. Kemba Walker, get that out of here. Then takes it all the way in for the bucket. He had 27. The Hornets led by as many as 16, but the Raptors closed the game on a 17-5 run. DeMar DeRozan for the win. He got it, but hold everything. The Raptors called timeout, so we head to overtime, tied at 90. In the OT, the Hornets pull away. P.J. Hairston with the 3. The Hornets go on to win it in overtime, 109-99.
So that was a really good win, obviously, to play like we played last night. And they're a good team, obviously. And, they've been here for 3 days. We get in late. We're shorthanded. Nick's sick. Al's out. Mike's out. They got the guys out, too. But it wasn't pretty there in the fourth. But I thought, we had a lot of guys make a lot of good plays. And it was a terrific win.
Now, the Hornets are back on the court Saturday night at Washington. NASCAR champion Kyle Busch had surgery to remove 2 metal plates in his left foot and a metal rod and screws in his right leg. The rod and screws were used to stabilize his leg and foot following his accident at Daytona. Now, Busch is expected to make a full recovery in time for the start of the 2016 NASCAR season in February.
All right, how about this, too? The Charlotte 49ers have landed a pretty high-profile transfer that happens to be the brother of a Panther. It's not this guy. This is the son.
He's not quite ready for the football
Olsen. Yeah, he's not quite ready. However, Kevin Olsen is Greg Olsen's younger brother, and he has transferred now to Charlotte from Riverside College. It's pretty fun there.
So cute. I love that video.
I know.
It makes me tear up. He's so precious. Sorry.
That's Greg Olsen's son. But his brother, that was the one who has transferred over now. Now, he was one of the top recruits in the nation. Originally, he signed with the Hurricanes, which is where Olsen went, exactly, with Miami. And never played it down there, left after a series of off-the-field issues. so now he's here, which is kind of fun for them to be in the same town.
Yeah, especially during this time of year. Like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Meantime, this. Oh my goodness, if you didn't see this from last night, a very painful moment from the Cleveland Cavaliers win over the Thunder. LeBron James goes after a loose ball here. Woo! Crashes.
Bam.
That's one way to put it. Into a woman sitting courtside. That woman is Ellie Day, the pro golfer Jason Day's wife, who just happens to be sitting next to her and just kind of like, oh, let me get out of the way.
Ouch.
Oh, darn, my wife is on the ground right now. LeBron James is listed at 6'8", 250 pounds, so we've been debating that he might be a little bit heavier than that. She left on a stretcher, so we are wishing her the best. He must feel pretty awful too. Ugh. Whew.
Look at that. Charlotte Checkers have a new member. Organist and hockey go hand in hand. So the Checkers have their first live organist now in more than a decade. I didn't even realize that organists and hockey went hand in hand, but
So
there you go.
I read that as well.
Yes, the team back to playing at Bojangles Coliseum, as you know, here its original home, spending the past decade at Time Warner Cable Arena in Uptown, where there was no setup for an organ. So now that organ at Bojangles has been there since the 50s. Team says it's only fitting then to put a musician in its seat. Hockey fans say the sound is just right and that it suits the vintage, sort of traditional feel of the game.
Hockey fans are traditionalists. We like just the basic things. We love a good, hard-hitting game, the finesse of a perfect backhand or a slap shot.
So Checkers beat the Iowa Wild Thursday, 3-2. They play at home this weekend. Saturday game's at 7. Sunday game is at 1.
Now, for the fourth time in 6 years, Gaston County Schools has the Southwest Region Teacher of the Year. Bobby Kavanagh is an English teacher at South Point High School in Belmont. He was named Regional Teacher of the Year during an announcement at the school on Thursday. Students say they enjoy being in Kavanagh's class because he's engaging and values what they say and believe.
It's an enormous honor. I'm incredibly excited and humbled. The main reason that I'm excited about it, though, is that I'll get to be a voice for our region and our schools in what's coming up in the following year.
Kavanagh has 16 years of experience in education. He will compete against 8 other regional winners for the North Carolina Teacher of the Year title.
And Lowe's is giving out a big Christmas gift this holiday season. The Mooresville-based home improvement giant presented a $75,000 grant to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library System. We're told that money will go toward 3 different locations in our area. It will help transform the Beatties Ford Regional, Sugar Creek, and Plaza Midwood branches. Lowe's also adding some labor help to the projects. More than 30 of their local employees have pledged to help fix those libraries up.
We're just getting started here on A Good Day Charlotte. WJZY. We will be live all morning at the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, where thousands of troops are headed home for the holidays.
If you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays.
bought 2 assault rifles used by his friend in the San Bernardino terrorist attack has been charged now with terrorism-related counts. We have the latest details coming up.
Plus, high crime in the university area has many people in the University House community outraged.